Hi, Kathy here from Kathy's Cute Creations. Today I'm going to make a blanket for Lanie, which is my little Yorkie. I'm going to use my electric Accuquilt. All right, let's get started. Start by using this fabric for Lanie's blanket. And I'm going to show you how I'm cutting it out. And what I've done is I have squared up this end instead of the end that's closest to me. The end that's closest to me has already been cut. As you can see, this white right here. I've already used this fabric for some other things. So I wanted to line it up before I cut it. This is what you need to do when you cut your fabric. This is the piece we're going to use. It's not very wide, but I want to flip it over here because I need to see that there's writing on this right here. I need to cut off the selvage right here because I don't want the writing in there. I'm just lining up my lines right along that selvage. This is going to be one side of her fabric, and I've chosen this yellow, which is let me flip it over to the right side. This is similar to a minky. You can see it's got little raised bubbles on it, and it is super duper soft. Now this piece of fabric here with the frogs on it is actually flannel, so both sides of this will be real soft. Her bed is not that big, and this is going to actually go into her cage downstairs that she sleeps in. I mean, that she goes in every now and then. And it is no bigger than probably, let's see here. That's probably big enough for her. Like I said, it's not very much space. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll just take the yellow with the pretty side up so that the little bubbles don't get smashed. And I will lay this on top of it. There we go. Like that. And that's good enough. Well, I'm back because I forgot that I'm actually going to be putting some insulation in her blanket. Since that cage is on the floor, I think it might be a little cold. So what I've done is I'm going to go ahead and just cut me a piece of this batting. And you know, I use that warm cotton batting. And even though it is smaller than the project, that's fine. What I will do is actually cut me a strip and attach it. So I need to go to right there and cut it. And this is what you can do when there's small projects. Of course, you know, I'm not giving this to anybody, so this is just the dog project. So this is going to be all right. You know, you can add pieces together. And this is how I'm going to find out how big it is, and then I'll show you how I attach that. Now I'll go get the machine and get it set up. This is what the machine looks like. The way that I set mine up is I lay it down this way. I open it, and then it's going to come out this end. And I'll get it plugged in and set up. This is what the die cutter looks like. This is what I'm going to be using is the bird. I'm going to do this bird right here. They give it, looks like this. You get it in a package. They always have directions on the back. They give you a little pattern so that you can make it. Or test it out to make it. They give you the directions on how to use it to get the best cut with your fabric. And then you have to buy this, which goes over the top of this, because the blades are actually down around whichever the shape is. Now you can put your hand on there, you're not going to cut it because it is actually below. But when you put this piece of hard plastic, and it's thick, I don't know if you can see how thick that is, but when you put it on top of that, it pushes down against the blades to cut your fabric. I'm going to try to make a blackbird. You lay your fabric lengthwise for the best. You never put it on the cross grain, or excuse me, the bias. So you have the lengthwise is again going the same direction as the selvage. As you can see, I got a short little piece here. I'll try to put my bird on it. The crosswise is the other, and then the going diagonal is your bias, which is good for making bias tape, but is horrible to cut with this machine. So let me see if I have enough for my little bird, which he's up here, and I do have enough. And I'm going to go ahead and just cut this because I don't need that in there. And let me see if I can get, oh, I can't get two birds. I was going to try, but that's not going to work. Well, and even, nope, I can't even do it that way. That'd be a waste. All right, this is actually wool fabric, by the way. I'm just letting you know that. I'm going to go ahead and get some more fabric so I can make a couple of birds with other fabric. I prepared my fabric. I wanted to use the double-sided fusible, so I've ironed on 3 pieces that fit this strip that I cut out for the birds. And now I'm going to fold it. That. Make sure the fabric goes over every bit of the bird, and it does. And then my wool fabric there. I've already cut my leaf out. I mean my leaf. Heavens to Bessie. My bird's wing. Let's put this on top of here and let me... I wonder if that would fit over... Let's see. It's not going to fit over the leaves to make the birds have blue wings. So I'm going to skip that part, and we're not going to make them any kind since I've already got the other cut out. You put the top on there. I'm going to scoot this up a little bit. And all you do is you push it. Comes out. You normally slide this so that your fabric doesn't stick on it, which mine seems to have, but that's okay. So here's my wool bird. There's one of the little blue birds. Here's another one. Oops, dips. And there should be 2 more. Here we go. So we have two. And depending on how you flipped your paper, for example, this is the same bird, but my paper was, my fabric was turned around, so it's going to both 2 different directions now, as well as this one. So I have 2 of these little birds going, facing towards me, and then 2 of the bigger birds, and then this bird. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Then I normally just save this left over here, because then, for example, that's enough to either do something, other project, circle, flower. I wouldn't be throwing any of this away. I mean, lots of people just take it and pitch it. They figure it's a waste. Well, I hold on to all of that. Just put it in a box, because you never know when you're going to use it for some other project. And that's it. So I have all this cut out, and I'm going to put this and this. And my picture says to put it like this. I can put it like that on. And I could actually leave it a little bit of 3D if I wanted to. But we'll wait till we get over there and we'll see. So let's go over there to the ironing board. Now I'm at the ironing board. I'm trying not to get too many shadows with this light. This is what I'm using to connect these two pieces of batting together. Comes in a roll like this. Put that down here. You just take it. Let's go this way. You get the length, which is about right there. Cut it off. Trying to figure out which side. I believe this side here is the fusible. And this is going to be the wrong side of mine. And just to make sure that I have it right, I'm going to get my pressing sheet out here to cover that. Because if I'm wrong, I don't want that sticking to my iron. Let's just cover it up to make sure. Alrighty. Here we go. And I'm using a dry iron. I haven't used any steam today for any of my project. There we go. Let's see if that'll work. And yes, it did. So it is attached. It's stuck. As you can see right here. See it right there? Now I'm going to sandwich my two pieces of fabric. No, wait, not going to do that yet. Going to take my little bird and I'm going to applique it onto the top part or the bottom, whichever she uses, but it's going to be the part that has the frogs on it. So I'm going to bring that over to the ironing board now. Here's the bird. And a matter of fact, after I got to looking at it, I didn't like the way that wing was looking. It was actually like this, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do it this way. So I went ahead and redid another wing. And I'm going to put it about right here. And you know that wool does not like to be ironed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the wing on the bird and adhere them together at the same time. If I can get the paper off now that I've... There we go. There you go. There's one. And let's get the other one. If I can. There's the other one. Now remember, this is sticky. So it's going to stick on there. And I'll go a little bit like that. And a little bit like this. And I did iron my fabric to warm it. That way it would stick better. So I'm just going over the top like that real quick. There we go. It's enough that it's on there and it won't come off. Alright, now we're going to go over here to the sewing machine and we're going to attach these two together. Now remember, I always do a practice sheet before I do any kind of fancy stitches. And when I did my practice sheet, it puckered and pulled. So I need a little bit of foundation on the back of this. And it's the same thing that we use, the double-sided fusible web, except this is single-sided. And as you'll see here, I pull it off and you can see that shiny right there. So that's like a plastic. And all that did was made the back a little stiffer so that when I sew around it, it won't pucker, I hope. We will see here in a second. Let's see. Okay, let's find out. Probably could have got away with a straight stitch because you can't even see it. Well, bit more. Okay, so you can't see it, so there's no reason doing this stitch. We're just going to do a straight stitch. And I'm going to go right on the edge of my bird. Okay. And then we'll do it, the applique stitch, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that in the wing. Let's get you a little closer here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going around the bird now, right on the end of him. And it's going to be lift and turn because this is sort of like a circle. Because it's a curve, not a circle. But and when you do this, you just take your time. Alright, coming up to his head here. And we're going to turn around at the beak area. Now, if you had made this for yourself, not a child now, let's just say that you made a full-size blanket or something, you could actually put a button on the eye to embellish. In this case, I will probably leave it. You could even use embroidery thread and do it hand to make the eyes, but I don't want to do that because then when she goes to scratching at this blanket, she may get her toenail caught in it and rip it up or something, so I don't want to do that kind of thing. You got to think who you're making it for before you do your embellishment, and that'll determine what kind of an embellishment that you do. And we'll make a crazy quilt. And after we've made a block, you could actually stop and put it in a frame if you want it. And then it could have a whole bunch of embellishments on it. I had one that I had made and gave away, and it had everything you could think about. Had little bells on it, because you know those little bells that you can get on a dog collar or a cat collar? And when the collar wore out, the bell was still good, so I just save all that kind of stuff. I know it sounds crazy to some people. When you sew, a lot of opportunities come your way to save things that other people would normally pitch, and then you can use them in your sewing. Let's got a little bit more down his tail, I guess. All right, let's take a look at it. Okay, needs to go like this. There we go. All right, here we go. And I'm coming up to the tail end of it. No pun intended here, since this is his tail. Let's lock it into place. Alright. Snip this here. I'll flip it over here on the back so you can take a look at it. Now normally you would put some type of fabric on here, but I didn't want to put a fabric because it would have been too thick. But I mean, I kind of ad lib on everything I do. I try it out, and if it works for me, I just go with it. But if you look at this little piece right here was the stitch that I made that you couldn't see on the other side, and then I decided to go straight. So now we're going to see if we can see it when we do the wing. We shall see here in a second. Okay. Let's find out if we can change it here. Okay. And let's see. I'll try it. And this will be really slow moving since it's a small little wing. There we go. I think I can see this one. Okay, turn it a little bit. Get to the back one. There we go. I could have made it a little bit bigger, but I didn't want it to overpower this wing. And a lot of the sewing machines, the new ones, the digital ones, even the older ones, because I think the little sewing machine I gave away to a friend, her daughter, I believe this stitch is on that sewing machine, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like one of the very first little stitches they put on the sewing machines, just so everybody could have it. And if you don't, and all you have is a zigzag, that's fine too. You can space your zigzag out. They don't always have to be right on top of each other. Just make your length longer when it comes to doing it, that's all. Let's pull this out of here. A little bit here. There we go. We're almost coming up here towards the tail end of it. I think what they need to invent is a shoulder cam, so you can put this thing on your shoulder so you have a up close and personal view of this. Hard to do it when you're doing it on your telephone. I don't have a camera or anything, at least not yet. It may be a few years down the road. And we're coming up to the tail end right there. Alright, let's lock it in place and cut it. I'll let you take a look at it. Let's see if you can see the stitching. Oh, I've got to get into the light. Alright, let me move the camera over here and see if you can see it. Well, that's a crummy job. There we go. Hold on one second. Let me reverse this. Alright, here is the stitch. Let's see, I'm not left-handed, so this is going to be kind of wacky. Okay, so here's the little stitch that comes over onto the fabric. It goes straight, then it comes over and catches it. Then it goes straight, comes over and catches it. So you can see it all along here. And then this piece right here, as you can see, it's got white and black. That's actually the selvage, but I thought that would look kind of cute on that wing. So that's why I left that in there. Alright, so let's sandwich this together and let's get it done. Now you're probably thinking, what is she doing? Because I see the batting and the fabric, and that's not the way to do it. But I'm making this super duper easy, because if you have managed to follow me so far, cut your own little bird out because you don't have an Accuquilt, then I think you've done a lot of work on it. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to sew some lines. So I'm going to go about in the middle here. Remove the first pin. And I'm going to actually go ahead and make the length bigger. I don't think it needs to be a real small length. So I'm going to go up to 5 for my length, make it really long. So just starting in the middle, and I can go off the edge. It doesn't make a bit of difference, because when we get done and we're going to finish this, we're just going to use our, take a guess. Can you guess what we're going to be using? That's right, the pinking shears. Okay, because I want it to be simple, simple. Here we go, straight on down. And you don't even need to lock it, just keep on going. Going to see if this is puckering, and no, it is not. Okay, and we're going to go about a couple of inches. I'll tell you what, I'm going to get a ruler here, and what I'm going to do with this ruler is I'm going to put the seam that I sewed on the left hand side at the end of the ruler. Then I'm going to put my foot right up against it and hold on to it and just come all the way down. Oops, I need to go backwards though, because I'm not on the edge. Let's go to the edge of the fabric. There we go, because we want to start on the edge. Okay, just straight down. Hopefully my arm doesn't get in the way there. And get to the end of it, just grab that ruler and come on down. Line it up again. And come on down with it. That's about the easiest way to keep the distance exact. I mean, nothing's going to be exact, but you know what I'm talking about. And then we'll go over here, take the pin out. Now that I've got that off there, I can put the pin cushion up here. Take both of these out. And let's see if I've got distance here. I might not have it. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I do have it. Okay. Actually, I'll end up drawing another line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just come in. And on my little ruler, there are, you can see here, let me flip this over so that you can see, because it needs to be against something that you can, alright, so see these two lines right here in the middle? I'm going to put it up against one of the lines and do it, because the distance between the edge of the fabric, which is what we're going to be sewing, and here, and I'll show you here at the bottom, then by the time you got done, you'd have one right there next to it. So I'm just going to move it over so that it's not as much distance. It's just a further away, that's all. And you don't have to do that. That's just what I want to do. I'm just giving you an idea. You can change it any way you want. Remember, this is your little thing you're making. It's not somebody else's. And I'm smoothing the fabric out this direction so that it's not bunched up underneath as I sew. Because remember, these are two soft fabrics. Very soft, and they'll have a tendency to bunch up. Alright, gonna keep that straight. Keep on coming. Coming down here. And there we go. Cut that off. Now before I sew the end, I'm going to just turn it around. Then I'm going to come downward. Just take it, mark it again, and come down this direction. Okay. Get my ruler on there straight. And we're not going to roll over this bird with this seam either. We're going to stop before we get to that bird. We don't want to be going over the top of the bird. Alrighty. Now, some people don't like to lock their thread with when they're quilting, but I do not care about it. As long as it's lined up and you take your time, it doesn't make any difference. I'll come right up to the bird and stop and back it up. Just 2 stitches and come forward 2. And that's it. Cut it. And then I'll come on the other side of the bird, right there. Now I will lock it when I start out. And then I will go right up off of here. Let me see if I got too close to that bird or not. Because if I did, nope, I didn't. Okay, I thought I got him in the beak. But I did not get him in the beak. He was right on the edge. Okay. And then I'm going to take this pin out. And let's see. Now this one's going to be a different line. So I'm coming into my 1/2-inch line to do it this time. Start at the end. Okay, 1/2-inch here. Stop at the bird, back it up, come forward, cut it. Up the foot, come all the way over on the other side of the bird, come forward, go backwards and then come forward. Right off of there. Okay. Now, let's clip this right here. Okay. I think I need to clip a little piece right here. Nope, that doesn't do. Okay. Now we're going to go to the end. And of course, if you want to keep it straight, I guess you could put your ruler up there. But I tell you what, I'm going to put my foot up against the fabric and come straight down so that I've got room to clip with my pinking shears. Alright. And I'll go ahead and I'll backstitch here because this is the tail end. And I probably backstitched about a ½ inch. Okay. Let's do the same thing here. Back it up. Come forward with it. I got a dog down there on my pedal just about. He is leaning on it. Okay, he's actually cut my thread before on me down there. He's leaning so much on that foot. Both of my little dogs are down there underneath the table. Let's go backwards here. Alright. Now I'm going to start at the top on this side. And I'm going to backstitch once I get on this side of my stitch line. Okay, and that's right there. Okay. Keep in mind when you put your little applique there, you don't want to be stitching into it, okay? Kind of think about your placement when you do that. And the very last side is next. I'm going to do the same thing. Alright, here we go. Alrighty. These. Let's take a look at it. There we go. Pretty neat, huh? Yeah. Now we're going to take our pinking shears, and you know how to use them. Just take it. Cut it as close as you want or as far away as you want. Makes no difference. I'm going to finish cutting this and I'll be right back. Alright, here it is, just to give you an idea how big it is. It's not very big. It's about 13 by... let me put Lanie down. She was protesting. I said her name too many times, I guess. Let's see. Oh, stick it right there. By 11. Let's double check it here. About 14 and a quarter by 11. So it's not very big. It'll fit. It might even be a little bit too big, and I might have to fold it in her box because she's got one of those teeny weeny little boxes. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, by all means, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. And if you notice behind me on the design wall there, the block of the month for January and February are up. Each time I've posted the block, I will put it up, just in case you haven't done it yet. This gives you an idea what it looks like. And I'll move it over there so that you can see it. I'm kind of limited here because my phone is actually plugged in. It was dying on me. So I had to plug it in so I don't have a very long cord. But that gives you an idea of what they look like. See you next time. Bye-bye.